is Wendy and we're here taping another show of Cat Chat in Medina. And I'm here with Dave Lanara. Dave, you were the gentleman that wrote me an email about this cat that you had coming around your house, and you did an amazing amount of patient work to get this cat in your home. Take me back to the first time you saw the cat. What did you see him outside?
Yeah, it was June of 2013.
Okay, so 2.5 years ago.
Right, and I looked outside and I saw this little cat walking along the tree line, and my neighbor puts large dishes out for deer food. He puts corn in there. And I saw the cat go to the dish and start eating corn. And I thought, my goodness.
The hard corn?
It was the hard corn. It had just rained, so it was kind of mushy, so maybe he was trying to get something that was chewy or something. So I got the binoculars out and looked at him, and sure enough, it was a cat. I wasn't sure. And we had just lost a cat that had similar markings. His name was Reuben. There's a photograph over there.
So he passed away.
He had passed away about 4 months earlier. And of course, seeing a cat that looked similar, I was just kind of enamored with that whole thing. So I put some food out that day and hoped that maybe he would come back. And the next day the food was gone. But I wasn't sure if it was a raccoon or a cat that had ate the food. So the subsequent days following there, I would stay in and watch and see if the cat was actually coming, and he did come. So that started a whole process of me going down once a day, putting food out in a specific location, and I ended up getting a water bowl and so forth to put out there with him. And he just kind of would sit around the area down below our trees over there, and this went on for a few weeks. And my wife and I decided that we would have to get him spay and neutered, we didn't know what he was, if he was a male or female at that point.
Right.
And so we got the live trap from my neighbor and trapped him, which he didn't like.
They don't
brought
like
him
much.
up to a quick fix.
Yay.
And he went through the process. He wasn't happy with that. Let him out. He just took off like a rocket for the woods.
Oh yeah, they're like
and I didn't know if I would see him
rocket.
again for a week or a month,
and we
or
tipped
what happened.
His ear,
we tipped his ear too,
he was
because
feral.
He was acting a little nasty in the cage.
Yeah.
They poked him a few times. He hissed and did all kinds of crazy things. So he went off, and within 2 days he came back looking for food. So I started the process all over again. And all through this time I thought this cat must be deaf and mute because he doesn't make a sound.
Right.
And after about a month, I brought some food down one day, and he saw me, and he was hiding in the weeds, and I heard this meow. And I was like, this is really good. There was a little communication started.
Now, how much time has passed now since you first saw him to where you
heard him say something? About a month or 2.5 months.
Okay.
About 2.5 months.
So we've already neutered him in this amount of time?
He's neutered. It's mid-July into August almost. So at that point, I thought, well, let's see how close I can get. So I took a lawn chair and I went down there. I would put the food down and I would back off maybe 60 feet and sit in the lawn chair and watch him behind a tree. He would gradually creep out real slow and look at me, and then he'd eat the food. And after he was done eating, it was the cutest thing. His tail would go straight in the air and he would prance back into the woods.
Oh,
like he had accomplished some big feat.
Yeah. And he didn't kill me.
Yeah, right, So I would say
he didn't eat me,
I would say
ate
good
food.
kitty, and so this went on for a while, and every day I edged my chair closer and closer to the food dish. So one day I was within about 10 feet of him, and he came out, and he looked warily at me, but he ate, and he sat, and he was acting kind of relaxed, and I was talking to him. And my neighbor next door thought I was the most patient soul.
I think you're the most patient soul. That's a lot of patience.
For me, since I work in the shop here, I could just walk out the door and spend a few minutes, and it was pleasant.
Sure.
And
so you have your own shop here. This is where we're standing right now.
Right.
In your basement, you have a shop, but you have
a
exterior
walkout,
windows. They're beautiful. It's a beautiful backyard. It's woodsy, so he was hanging around.
He was living in the woods. That was his
He
territory.
had coverage and stuff, but so you're down
mouser.
here a lot.
Yeah, so
and you could see right out these two beautiful windows.
I'd work here and I'd look out and I could see him. He'd sit out in the weeds and sun himself after he ate. So it was a kind of a symbiotic relationship starting to build.
Sure.
And gradually, as the weather got colder, I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something to help in the wintertime because I can't bring him in. I don't know if he's feral or what he is. I knew at that point he was a male at least. And he wasn't going to be making any more kitties in the neighborhood, which is a good thing. But so I got this little idea that I seen on the internet, of course, using the storage tub to build a box for him out there. and I lined it with storage box.
Basically, these are like $12 at the store.
Right.
Sometimes they're even cheaper than that. I've seen them as cheap as $6.
That's right. You can buy them in bulk in
Yep.
different places.
Yep.
I would buy 2 and 3 at a time.
Okay.
And I decided to insulate it. I put a piece of insulation. This is foam insulation on the bottom.
So it's not that that stuff that makes you itchy. It's
not
the hard
fiberglass.
foam.
It's a hard foam,
Yeah.
styrofoam of some sort.
Right.
And then for an liner, I got some of this material, which is like
Where did you
it's
get
bubble wrap at Home Depot.
it? At Home Depot.
It's
so
bubble
like-
wrap, and it's
okay.
insulated on both sides. They wrap furnace pipes and things with it, but it does have an
Cheap.
R value of
Couple
like
bucks.
5 or 6.
Okay.
So I lined the inside with
Okay.
that.
So
and
we're under
taped-
$20.
Right, I taped it so that it would stay nice and tight in there. And then on the bottom here, we bought a heated bed too. So I ran a extension cord all the way down.
Of course we did.
I cut a hole in the side here in one of the corners.
How did you do that? These are pretty hard to do.
Yeah, this stuff will shatter if you don't do it right, so you have to be very careful. I ended up having to drill some holes.
Okay.
And then I would got a razor knife and scored it so that I could, try to chip it out. And it took a little time to get it out.
Sure.
I had to sand the edges because they were sharp.
I was
This
just
way
gonna
the
ask you
cat
that.
wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah. So you've spent.
I
you
had to
were
think about
very,
this.
very careful and
Yeah.
thoughtful.
I didn't want him to be injured, and I didn't want him to be afraid of it either. So then I thought, well, how would you keep any kind of cold air out once he's inside?
Right.
And, like they have in your walk-in freezers, they have plastic slats hanging.
Yes.
So I got some plastic material from the hardware store again and just hung it here with some tape and cut a few slats. And after I threw some treats in it, you saw this and smelled the treats, and he went.
And he went.
And he found the heated bed, and he was fine with it.
Oh my gosh.
He acclimated very quickly.
Now, was the heated bed inside and
was
then
inside.
the cord just up and out?
Yeah,
It wasn't
I
underneath
took
it or
the
anything.
cord-
You put it in here.
Right, I took the cord and ran it up over
up
the
and
top
over
like
and
this.
just ran an exterior extension cord
Right, because
out
it fit
there.
pretty good. So, but at that point, he was way down there in the bushes, and it got colder and colder and colder, and I was going down the hill every day, and it was snowing, and I thought, this is getting a little weird. And,
At
if
this
it gets
point,
really bad
you
weather,
had
I
the
don't
first
really
inkling
want
of
to go.
this relationship is getting
Yeah, I'm thinking,
really,
I'm
really
obsessed.
intense.
This is crazy.
I love it
So
though.
I thought, somehow I have to either get him up here, and I wanted that to happen, but I didn't know if he would come. And as I said, he was much happier coming out and seeing me. At this point, when I sat down there, he actually come around the chair, and I talked to him, so he was getting very familiar with me.
Sure.
And at one point, he would come out and just wait for me to come through the door in the basement here with his food at the appropriate times. It was almost up to 3 times a day at that point. I'm a sucker. So one day I walked out the door, and I had the food in my hand, and I said, "Here, Sox, come and get it." And he looked at me, and he ran up the hill with his tail in the air and came right around me and wrapped around. And I thought, well, this is it. I got him now,
I don't have to go down the hill
No,
anymore.
so then I moved his box up and underneath my deck here and did the same thing. I think I gave him a little larger box, and it was underneath the deck, and it was more sheltered. And I had the heated water bowl, so he was really, really living it up at that point. But then on one of the coldest days in February of that year, he sat outside the door, and it was 10 degrees. And he must have just drank some water, and his chin was all iced up, and his ears were all iced up, and I thought, this poor animal, I got to do something. So then I decided to put a window box in.
So this is the second window in your shop,
Right.
and right now it's set up for indoor living.
Right.
But before that,
Before
this
that-
wasn't here.
Right. The
Okay.
shelving was not there.
Right,
I did
right.
have the windowsill.
Okay.
Went to the hardware store and got a 1/4-inch piece of plexi. And you
Plexiglass.
Right. This is plexi.
Got it. Okay.
And then you can buy a pet door at any pet shop.
They're only like $20.
Right. So it's
So-
pretty simple to cut it out and drill it and fasten it there. Anyway, well, this fit right in the window very nicely.
Okay.
And then you can close
Well,
the
so you
window
didn't
on top.
replace your window. You just
Lift it up,
and
right,
slid
put this
it
in, and then you drop your window back down on this,
That's
on this
genius.
part. And then you can
Love it.
secure the window. Of course, as far as a security thing, it's probably a little iffy, but when people see a cat door, I don't think they're liable to want to break it.
You put this with it, and no one's going to break
That's
in.
right.
You just affix this on the exterior right next to the door.
Exactly what I did.
And then,
I've had people say, "What do you have, an ocelot in there?"
Oh, an ocelot.
They don't know. I said,
or a
"Well,
serval cat.
It's a big cat, you know."
All right, so we put the
anyway,
sign
that went
and
in
we
there.
put the door in.
And I put this in the window, and then on the outside here, I had another a sawhorse, not a seahorse, a sawhorse, and I built a little about 2x4 platform with some plywood from the store again, and built a wooden box. And then he would come in.
So he could come in the box.
He'd come in the box.
Okay.
And I thought, instead of just making it one solid box, why don't I put plexi on this side too?
Of
so
course.
I put a piece of plexiglass facing inward.
Okay, so you could
so
see him in the box.
So I could see him come in there, and he'd get used to seeing me.
And this is now still the first year and the winter of the first year.
Right.
Okay.
So into the winter of 2014.
You are
13,
amazing.
14. No.
Would everybody want to try this?
I don't know. This is an obsession.
This is amazing.
It was a challenge. It was just
course.
a challenge to me. So
yeah.
I thought, how am I going to get this cat to really get to know me? So I cut some petting slots in her.
So we have petting slots.
So I cut a petting slot, and I got close to him, and I talked to him. He'd look, he'd stick his nose in there, and boy, if I got too close, though, he would swipe right through there and try to get me, which he did several times.
Yeah. Did he get you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, folks, the best thing for that is if you get scratched by a cat, you immediately use some disinfectant soap and then douse it with alcohol.
Yeah.
And don't put a bandage on it with any Neosporin, just let it drop normally.
Yeah,
and a couple days, you're good.
Yeah. You want it to drain. You don't want to cover it up. You want it to drain.
Right.
Because of all the bacteria and stuff in there. You don't want to enclose it with any kind of lubricant like that. It's exactly right.
I think this was part of the roof, the lid for one side of it. I had drilled some holes in it so that it would vent. So when he was sleeping in there, he wouldn't become asphyxiated or have too much moisture building. So that would go on the top, and I had some hinge systems so I could open it up like this to clean it or see what was going on. So I had this little creative thing.
This guy hit the lottery.
And eventually I increased the size of it. I had this whole area enclosed here. So he had actually 3 rooms. He would come in one entrance, go into this other side, and then this whole piece right here was another little area with, I had put some excess flooring in there that I had, the linoleum or whatever it is.
He didn't have any more chin ice.
No more chin ice.
No
more
ice.
chin ice. No, but he was feeding, and then eventually I cut a hole over here, right about here it sat.
Okay.
And he came in.
Oh boy, what was that like?
He sat down here and just looked around like he owned the place and started walking around. He had been here.
He's like, Dave, you're doing a good job.
That's right. He had already seen me for weeks and weeks on end working in here. So
he's like, take a look around.
he came in, but I had to be very careful. If I reached down, he saw my hand from a peripheral sight. His claws would come out and catch me because he thought I was an animal.
Yeah.
And I'd yell at him. He would kind of, okay, I shouldn't do that. But
he was in serious survival mode.
He still was.
Very flight or fight immediate.
He really
if he could get away, he probably did. And if he couldn't, he's in serious fight mode.
Because he didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
All I was giving him food and shelter. I don't even know if he understood that. But once I had him in here, I devised a way to lock him in the shop so he couldn't go out at night, and vice versa, or come in if I wanted to do some work on his enclosure. But he got pretty smart. He knew how to defeat some of the methods we had to keep him inside, and I went out of town one day and he went through it anyway and brought a mouse in, and it was
oh my gosh,
kind of a messy thing, and poor Denise had to clean it up and I was out of town.
Oh,
so
Denise. Oh, that's not fun.
That got to be
shrapnel.
And I thought, this has to end too eventually. So in September of 14, I said, this is it. He had brought 2 chipmunks in, one running around, and that was not going to cut it. So I thought, this is your chance, pal, to become an indoor cat. For a few days, he kind of pawed at the window. He wanted to get back out, but once he realized the food was in here, and he's really food motivated, then he acclimated really fast. And then I was able to start playing with him. He loved to play around the posts and so forth with toys. This way it got that desire to hunt out of him. And I should mention here that all through that summer when he was coming up here, you don't want to even know how many chipmunks he brought to me.
He was so grateful. They do that to share food with the pride, with his buddies, with his family.
Chipmunks, mice, and everything else. But anyway, after September, he was in here, and
and he's been in here ever since. Mm-hmm. Does he go out at all?
No.
Okay, so you have him indoor only. Does he want to go out?
Well, I open the door sometimes, and he just watches me go and feed the birds, and he wants to sniff the air, but he backs up. He doesn't try to run out.
He's like, I got a good in here.
He's got ample opportunity to run if he wanted to. You know, cats can just scoot on you.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And he just sits back and watches. Now, if I go out, I'll go down and feed the birds. As I come up the hill, he's in one of these windows watching me.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the cutest thing.
He's like, yeah, been there, done that.
Right,
That's a hard life out there.
And I'll open the windows for him. He sits in the window when it's sunny, and he likes that. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
He never clawed the screen to get out or anything, which was really amazing.
That is amazing.
So I think he was probably an indoor cat at one point, or belonged to somebody, maybe in a garage or a shop.
Yep.
And he found a new home.
He did. He picked that magic Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory golden ticket.
I guess so.
It was just amazing, Dave, what you done for the cat, and I'd love to go meet him right now. This is Sox. Sox, turn and look at the camera. This is one of the most regal-looking cats. I'm telling you, this cat is gorgeous. He has this beautiful, regal-looking face, and he likes treats. Yeah, we can get him to stay here for a minute or so, but look how good he looks. And this tail right here, this says it all. The position of his tail says he's really, really happy. He's like a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
Sox the vacuum. Look at that. Oh, don't you feed this cat? Everybody now knows the extent that you went to. That's sort of funny. I mean, obviously, I meant that as a real joke because look at him. Look at that. So cute.
Oh, yeah.
And look, he lets me pet him. I love it. Hi, buddy. Hi. He's like, do you have food?
Yeah.
Don't touch me if you don't have food. Oh, he's beautiful. This is a brown striped tabby with white. That's his color. A lot of people think that he's black, but he's not. This is all the brown undertones. They call this mackerel tabby because mackerel fish are all striped like that down the side.
Okay.
So his true color is brown mackerel tabby with white. But I think he looks fantastic.
His fur is like silk.
And he's a sweetie pie now, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's all
You've
right.
done an amazing job with this cat.
Thank you.
And can you imagine what his life would have been if you didn't, or if he would even still be alive?
Well, there's so many hazards out in the woods, especially.
Yeah. Most people don't go to the extent of to build out their house and convert it and take the next step and the next step and the next step. I mean, I've known some heroes, but this is a real hero. You're a real hero for this cat. You know, I'm sure for him, you're his hero. If he could talk, he would put a little pin on you that says "My hero."
I hope
because look at this. He's beautiful, and certainly Denise, your wife, as well. Thank you for what you've done. I mean, because cats are obviously my passion, and for me to see that somebody else holds the same level of passion is so encouraging. So thank you both. And
welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. If I may speak for Sox, thank you for what you've done for him, because he's worth it, and they're all worth it. You know, they're here for us to take care of. We're not their servants or slaves, but certainly we're their guardians and protectors.
And he's a great companion too. When I work there, and if I have a miserable day or something, sometimes he'll come up to me and just look at me, and he'll tap me on the head or something if I'm sitting down, or come up to my shoulder and whisper in my ear, it seems like. Of course, I'm thinking he's saying probably feed me. But
I'm thinking he's saying that too.